Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Rockwood number 580. This happens to be a 48-inch length version of the 580 in a BSP, a black suede powder coat. So what is this? A really long surface bolt is what this is. A typical size for the 580 is going to be 8-inch, maybe 12-inch, maybe even 24-inch. But Rockwood will make a 48-inch version of it as well. It's not a very unusual bolt in the sense of a 580. In fact, it's extremely common. But of course, you don't see them long very often. And until I've sold long bolts, 3 foot, 4 foot, 5 foot, 5 foot, but not a 580. There is a company who makes decorative bolts that are long, a couple of them I can think of. But in terms of this type of bolt that you're going to see on an inactive door, a pair of doors in a electrical closet in a condominium building, you've got 5 floors. Every one of those floors is going to have an MEP room, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing sort of room. It's okay for the inactive doors of those pairs of fire doors to have a manual bolt because there's no human occupancy on the other side. If there was, you couldn't use a surface bolt. Now, where you would use something like this, I know the client quite well where these are going to. They do very high-end woodworking, so this is likely a high-end commercial application, and it could be residential as well. But the point is, when would you use a 4-foot bolt? Very likely a really tall door. So if 12-inch is pretty typical for a 7-foot door, and this is 4 foot, you can kind of get the concept, well, it could be 10-foot doors, you know. Now, there's not necessarily a hard and fast rule. Little feedback coming back. There's not a hard and fast rule as to where you will absolutely use a length of a bolt, but I do keep that in mind. 7 foot, 12-inch, maybe 18-inch if you go to 8 foot. You know, be mindful, you're going to have to reach up, so you're going to want to bring this down to a level that is appropriate for where, you know, a hand can reach up and operate it. But doors, 10-foot doors are pretty unusual, but not in such a fashion where you're not going to see them. And there just may be an unusual way in which these are being employed. I don't know. Use your imagination as to where someone would put a 4-foot bolt. Now, some basic questions about this, and we'll take some basic dimensions. We've talked about where it's used. Let's take some basic dimensional properties right now. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Dimensional properties. So this is 48-inch. I'm going to measure the overall length of the bar. Yeah, it is indeed 48-inch overall length of the bar. And this happens to be brass. I happen to know that. So that's important. But what's the first question that a lot of people will ask is, what's the projection? And that, of course, is governed by
Hi, this is Terry.
How much sliding can be done here.
Good, how are you?
Okay. And that dimension,
I am looking for the general lead time for an item.
I'd say about 7/8. So something like this is probably going to have a projection on paper of about 3/4 inch. And in fact, I would say that the projection is the question that the client asks first. It's understood the length that you need. That's going to be based on the door height, let's say. But how far does it engage into the strike or into the jam, whatever it is? That's a great question. The guides, just to give you an idea of what those measure, looks like they're about 2-inch. By about 3/4 inch is what it is. The bar itself about 3/4 inch. Looks like it's about a 1/4 inch thickness. Yeah, it is, I would say. Now, in the packaging, you're going to get your strikes, and the strikes are, there's a rim strike and a mortise strike. Let me show those to you, and I'll show you in a moment how they're applied. And by the way, this is BSP black suede powder coat, as I said earlier. That is a very durable painted process. It can be damaged, but you have to intentionally damage the material. You've got what's called a mortise strike here. This would be for like a push side mount. 2 7/8 by 3/4. Then you have what I would call a rim strike. This would be for a pull side mount. 2 inch projection, about 7/8 or so. The width of the strike, about 7/8 as well. Then a whole slew of fasteners. Sheet metal screws, machine screws will all be in here. What we'll do now is we will switch to the screen view where we can take a closer look at all of the supporting documentation for this bolt. Let's do that now. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Here is the item that we are looking at. Let's take a look at some photographs that we have posted here real quick. It's a very long item, so it's hard to photograph, obviously. That's the turn knob, or the handle, not a turn knob. A 4-foot overall length. Because this is bar stock, they ought to be able to produce any size, really. And knowing Rockwood, they all but encourage requests for custom sizes. Screws, mortise strike, and then your rim strike. Actually, let's talk about what that means right now. Okay, so what we have is, what do we have? Let's just say we have a single rabbet frame. Could be anything you want. Wood, fiberglass, steel, you know, just imagine it's a single rabbet. Could be double rabbet as well. Don't care. Doesn't matter. What we have here is a door. I had mentioned push side and pull side. If I were to use that mortise strike, the only place I could use it is I would mortise it right into the soffit of the frame, and then my bolt would obviously fit in here. And I would be mounting it here and here, the whole 9 yards. Actually, this is, let me back up here. A header. Door is going to swing in that direction. The door may swing out. The door may swing in. We don't know. This can be the inside or the outside. This can be the inside or the outside. If I'm going to have a push side mount, which is why I said that, I can mortise that strike here. That bolt's going to come in here. I'll have my turn knob. I have a couple of my mounting guides. And that's all she wrote. That's a push side mount. If the door was outswing, you'd certainly put it on the inside, the push side. Okay? But it's most likely that the door is in swing, or it could be. In that case, you'd use this rim strike and it would go up here like this. Same concept. Couple of mounting points. So the strike that you're going to use is going to be dependent on push. You're on the push side, or the pull. You're pulling the door towards you. And that's what those two strikes are for. Now let's take a look at the extended description. Oh, here's a customer supplied image. I don't remember where this is from. That's a really long bolt. Well, that's where you're going to see it. I don't know who supplied that image. For all I know, I could have taken it. But that's what we're showing here. You get the concept about that rim strike. That's a pull side mount, so you have to have the rim strike. Neat. grade image showing what it actually looks like. Now, data, 48-inch, it's made of brass. It's powder coated over brass. Generally, when they powder coat something, they'll powder coat the least expensive base material. So clearly, the only way they can make this in an unusual length is in a brass base material, which is absolutely the reason that it is so expensive. And then they simply powder coat over it. Information about UL listing most likely does not apply. Sex bolts are available for extra secure mounting. If you've got a wood door, if you have any door where you expect there to be a substantial amount of abuse on the door, you'll probably want to through bolt it immediately, because those screws can and will come out. The underside of the mounting guides have, and I will show it to you at the end of the video, a friction spring in it that helps resist this from falling down and unlocking all the time. And I'll show that to you. There's a template. This is going to apply to all of the 580. Obviously, you have to insert your length here where it applies. What's very interesting about this is they're showing an 8-inch version from the tip to the center of that in a retracted position. It's important to note that our 48-inch is not measured like this. If it was, this would be another 2 inches in length. It'd be a 50-inch bar. And you can see where everything lies as you are using that strike. Oh, here's an interesting way. I didn't consider using the rim strike in this sort of application. You could use it on a push side as well. That would certainly work. If you've got a steel frame, you could surface mount the mortise strike, or you could use the rim strike, which they're calling the L strike. When I say rim, it's mounted like this because you're mounting the hardware on the perimeter of the door. Perimeter. Product brochure. This will just show surface bolts. They do list up to 24-inch here. The 585 is a nice bolt because it is exceptionally heavy duty. It's double thickness and things of that nature. Now there's a link below this video as seen here to the manufacturer's page, and when you click on that, you'll be able to pull up a link to, and also so the website is here, also their full line catalog, which I would recommend that you review, and then you can do a Control F find function on your keyboard for 580. This is not the catalog that I wanted. I want the door accessories full line catalog. Control F 580, and you will find the page or the section of the catalog where the 580 appears. The point or the purpose of the exercise is it will dump you into the section where you will see other surface bolts. Not too many from Rockwood. I was expecting more than these. Flush bolts are in this area, and the padlockable version as well. Yeah. The other catalog I wanted to show you is the door pull catalog. Not related to surface bolts, but Rockwood has a very comprehensive offering of architectural door pulls. As you can see, if you were to scroll through here, several and many scores and scores of options. Different base materials: stainless, brass, bronze, wood, aluminum, leather wrapped, rubber wrapped, wood as part of the construction of the pull handle, with an architectural metal as well. They do everything, and they continue to evolve this line. They really do. Pulls like this, fancy pulls like this, fancy pulls. Unusual pulls have been around for several decades, but this is a far more modern take on what pull handles would be considered more traditional. And what I mean by that might be something not unlike the what I'm driving at is a more traditional type of pull would be Rockwood is not the ideal, or the current Rockwood catalog is not necessarily ideal. And actually, the door pole catalog is going to have some vintage material in it, to be sure. Yeah, you get into poles, you know, this type of pole, that's been around forever. This sort of cast pole, that's been around forever. Decades. This pitcher, P-I-T-C-H-E-R, this pitcher handle pole, that's been around. This pole has been around. Obviously this one as well. It's just same pole, just has some decorative, what they would call washers. I might call them rosettes, etc. But back to the architectural pole catalog. If you're looking for door poles, you will want to scroll through this. You may find stuff that you've not seen in the past. Also on the manufacturer's page, this is where we would put prior catalogs, previous versions, along with any encyclopedic documentation. Here, this is a video on a custom application that Rockwood was able to produce for me. Let's wrap up this video on camera. If you've not hit subscribe yet, we would very much appreciate if you did, and hopefully you're enjoying this video. Now, let's get back to it. Now, in conclusion, if you have any questions on the 580 or any other Rockwood product at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. It is Rockwood makes business really easy on multiple fronts. They're agreeable. They're easy to work with. They, as I said earlier, they all but encourage requests for custom material. If they have the physical capability of making something, they'll quote it. This type of bolt is really not in anyone's catalog in this length. This was just a simple inquiry into the factory, and yeah, not a problem for them to produce this for us. Very, very high quality, and most remarkable, and where they are absolutely separated from their competition, is the prompt, reliable, predictable shipping lead times. This, and they have been for years, so I don't think I'll jinx it. They can be really relied on for a 2 to 3 week lead time. 2 week for regular material. They're a manufacturer. It's all made to order. When it comes to something that they are going to send out, like leather wrapped poles, you're going to add a week for that. Finished, their Arbor Tech, their wood poles, you're going to add a week for that. But in general, unless there is a pandemic, global supply chain issue, the year is 2022 right now, they're really reliable. If they physically don't have kick plate material, if they don't have, you know, stainless 50 thousandths in the flat, they can't make kick plates. That's the only time they get into trouble, really. And nice people, too. Any questions on this or any other Rockwood product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.